All right, good evening, everybody. Real quick, I just want to talk about some things that deal with Module 12 because there's a lot of things in there, including graphing and graphing tools that goes beyond plotting points. So I just want to make sure we're equipped with the tools as well as the knowledge. So, all right. All right. First thing I want to talk about is where slope comes from. So basically, slope comes from lines, linear functions. And the general thing that you need to know moving forward in a math class, if you're taking math classes, is that a function, whether it's increasing or decreasing, are described as they go left to right. So the orange axes indicate my x and my y. The blue arrow is going up to the right. So that would be a line with a positive slope. The green arrow is going down to the right. So that would be a line with negative slope. So slope is always thought of as it's moving left to right. If you have a horizontal line, which we'll talk about, but if you have a horizontal line, all right, which is neither increasing or decreasing, all right, then we think of that as having zero slope, all right? And then if we have a vertical line, all right, make that nice purple, darken it up, thickening it up, okay? That is considered having no slope. If you ever get confused between the two, realize you can walk on a horizontal line. That's why its slope has zero, but you cannot walk on a vertical line without assistance. So that's why it's undefined. Now, the formula that's introduced in this unit is for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The numbers are just subscripts. They don't mean anything mathematically. So, all right, we're talking about 0.2 and 0.1, and it doesn't matter which one you pick for which. The one suggestion I would tell you is this, all right? When you create your formula, okay, when you create your formula, just pick a point. So, for example, all right, it doesn't matter which point you pick. So if I pick negative 3, 7, I would tell you to put the 7 there because that's the y, and the negative 3 down there. Automatically put in minus signs. And then you pick your second point, which is there, 8, negative 2. So the y coordinate there is the negative 2, and the x coordinate is 8. And now it's just order of operations. 7 minus negative 2 turns into 7 plus 2, which is 9. Negative 3 minus 8 using your sign numbers is negative 11. So our final answer is negative 9 over 11. For those of you worried, if you did the order, all right, if you switch the order, so if we started with the 8, negative 2 first, so that'd be negative 2 over 8, minus, minus. Then we do the 7 over the negative 3. Negative 2 minus 7 is negative 9. 8 minus negative 3 turns into 8 plus 3, which is 11. And guess, look at that. You end up with the same value, negative 9 over 11. So it doesn't matter the order in which you do it. Okay. Now moving down. All right. 0 comes to the party. So when you end up with 0 in the numerator, that means the slope is 0. That comes from when the y's are equal because 0 over n is divided by 0. In the denominator, so when you end up with 0 in the denominator, the slope is undefined. The x's are equal. That's because n over 0 does not exist. We cannot divide a number by 0. All right, so that's the difference between them. 0 divided by a number is 0, because if we have 0 objects and we divide it amongst n people, everybody gets 0 objects, so there's a value. If we have n objects and we divide them among 0 people, we really can't do it. All right, now when you get to the word problem section, remember your vertical is your y, your horizontal is your x. So basically your slope represents y per x. The key word there is per. Look for that. All right, whether it's a time, whether it's a dollar, it's whatever the y is, items per dollar, revolutions per minute, whatever it is. That's what you're looking for in the real world. So it's just the y over x. Now, all right, the graphing tool. So let's say we have to graph y equals 3/4 x minus 1. That's what we're trying to do. So let's go through the graphing tool with you. Remember, we're doing 3/4 x minus 1. All right, so we start at -1. All right, and we plot that. That's your y-intercept. So I do -1. All right, so there's the -1. Okay. Now, if I'm graphing a line, I want to choose that tool. I'm not just graphing the points. So I start at -1. Why will it not do this? Okay. So there's my -1. Why is it not allowing me to graph? All right, I have to pick something else because this isn't working for me. I don't know why. There we go. Okay, so that's better. So I'm graphing 3/4 x minus 1. So there's my line tool. I plot the y-intercept, which is -1. All right. Now, if you're going to use values, then plug in the 4. So you can use a table of values to do this. So if I plug in 4, 4 times 3/4, the 4's cancel out, and I have 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. So 4, 2 is the next point. And it will automatically put the line in. I wouldn't suggest doing that. I would suggest you use slope. So basically what I would do is I would start with the y-intercept, which is the -1, and then the slope is 3/4. All right. So that means I'm going up 3 and over 4. So I just count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. All right. Either way will get you the method. All right. But I would use the second method. I would use slope. That's the most efficient way of doing it. So that's how we graph a line. All right. So now I come back here. Inequalities, you have to shade. So let's say we have to graph, all right, y is greater than x plus 1. So I'm deleting all this, all right? So now I'm graphing y is greater than x plus 1. My y-intercept is the 1, and my slope is also 1. So I start at 1, all right? I'm in the right tool, the line tool, starting at 1. Then my slope is 1, which means I go up 1 and over 1, boom, and I have my line. All right. Now, okay, because there's no line underneath, it has to be a dashed line. When we're graphing inequalities, line underneath means solid line. No line underneath means dashed line. So I got to come here, and I click dash, and it will automatically change it to a dash for me. Okay. So it changes the dash. Now, when it's solved for y, greater than means we shade above, less than means we shade below. So in this one, since it's shaded above, all right, you click up there, and then you click the region that you want to shade. All right. So again, when you do it, y is greater than x plus 1. There's my line tool. So 1 is my y-intercept. Slope is 1, so I go up 1 and over 1. So I start with my line. It will automatically give you a solid line. All right. We come over here. We click that arrow. All right. So it's the arrow next to the clear all, even though you don't want to hit that because it'll get rid of everything you do. All right. You then click the line 1 and you click dash. All right. Now, when it's greater than, we shade above. So now we're going to come over here. We're going to click above it. We're going to go fill. Then we click above it. It'll shade it above it. All right. The next one, y is less than or equal to -x plus 7. So that has a y-intercept at 7. So again, I go back to the graphing tool. I click 7. And the slope is -1. So I go down 1 and over 1. So I go down 1 and over 1. Click a point. All right. Now there's a line underneath. All right. Now there's a line underneath. So -x plus 7. All right. It can be left as a solid line. You don't have to change the line. However, it's less than, which means you shade below. So you click the fill, which is like a little paint can, and then you click below it, and it will graph the region for it. So when you're doing inequalities, you must shade the region. All right. Systems, is it a solution? You're going to get systems problems, plug it in. So they're going to give you an X value and a Y value as an order pair. Remember from your graphing and plotting points, X is your first number, Y is your second number. If it's true for both equations, in other words, if they both come out to be equal, 3 equals 3, 8 equals 8, then it's true. If even one of them it's not true, then no. All right, so all you're doing in that group is plugging it in. All right. A touch of vocab. Independent means one solution. That's most of them. Dependent means infinite solutions. The equations are exactly the same. So if I looked at that, I'll show you what I mean by equations being exactly the same. All right. 2x plus 4y equals 8. 4x plus 8y equals 16. All right. All I have to do is take that equation and multiply it by 2. 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 4y is 8y. 2 times 8 is 16. Those are the exact same equations. Therefore, that is what we mean by dependent. Has infinite solutions. Not all numbers, but infinite solutions. If you did graph them, so what you're looking at is variables and constants are the same when you simplify it. Lines, when graphed, would be on top of each other, so it's the same line. Then you're going to deal with inconsistent. All right? Inconsistent means no solution. Variables are the same, constants are not. You have parallel lines. All right? So if I went back to this one, all right, and let's say instead of an 8, that was a 6. All right, now when I multiplied it, the 2 times the 2x would still give me 4x. 2 times the 4y would give me the 8y. The difference is 2 times 6 is equal to 12. Since it's equal to 12, 12 is not equal to 16. Therefore, that would have no solution. And if you graphed them, they would be parallel lines. So if we graph them on the graphing tool, all right, we'd have something like this. So let's say, all right, oh boy. All right. And then it went up 3 and over 2. All right. And let's say we start down here at -2. So we'll do that. And I'll go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 2. Boom. You'll notice the two lines are exactly the same. Okay. So that's what we mean. That one would have no solutions. Now, when they ask you to find a solution by graphing, all you're going to do is graph the lines. All right. So let's say I graphed, let's say we added y equals, all right, -2x plus 5. All right. So let's say we graphed y equals -2x plus 5. So go back to my graphing tool. I go to 5. My slope is -2, which means I go down 2 and over 1. Oops, wrong tool. Why did that happen? I want to delete it. Okay. Click the wrong thing. So again, -2x plus 5 means I would start here. So there's the 5. I would go down 2 and over 1. Boom. And then right here would be the solution wherever they go. For you, they should come out to be integer values, and that's all you do. So that's what you want. All right. So there you go. I hope it helped. Good luck with the module, the quiz, and the assignment. And reach out if you have any issues. Have a good night.